Hello, my name is Plenz and I want to present our work on similarity-weighted construction of contextualized common-sense knowledge graphs for knowledge-intense argumentation tasks. First of all, why should you care about common-sense knowledge? If you're given an argument consisting of a premise, a person is unhappy if she is dissatisfied with her body, and a conclusion, plastic surgery raises patients' self-esteem and allows them to lead normal, happy lives, then we humans can understand how this conclusion relates to the premise. However, we can only do so because we have access to common sense knowledge. In this case, for example, plastic surgery reduces dissatisfaction with their own body. Because everyone knows this, we often don't say it, so it's left implicit. However, machines don't have access to common sense knowledge, so for them it's difficult to make these inferences. Common sense knowledge is available in knowledge graphs, for example ConceptNet. However, these graphs are large, spanning millions of nodes, and therefore it's not straightforward to decide which common sense knowledge to use. Thus, in this work, we present a method to construct contextualized common sense knowledge graphs. These graphs should represent the relevancy common sense knowledge that is necessary to understand the argument, while being relatively small, having only a couple of nodes. So the setting is that you're given an argument with a premise and a conclusion, and you want to find a graph which has only a couple of nodes, which tells you all the common sense knowledge you need to know. A little TLDR of why you might be interested in our approach. First of all, it represents the common sense knowledge explicitly, which improves downstream task performance, as we show in our experiments. The common sense knowledge is represented in the structured form, which makes the downstream task more interpretable. Our approach is fully unsupervised, which means that it's domain agnostic and can be applied to any domain. We evaluate the graphs thoroughly, including a task-independent analysis of the graph quality. So therefore our graphs are also evaluated task-agnostically and can be applied to any task. And our method is efficient, which means that it's scalable to large data sets. So in summary, our method should be applied in a knowledge-intense task as it improves downstream performance while also making it more interpretable, and it can be applied as it's domain and task agnostic and scalable. How would previous work have tackled this problem? The usual approach is that you're given your argument and you want to find an initial set of concepts in your graph which represents this argument. Typically, string overlap is used for this. However, the problem here is that this is rather incomplete, as you are limited by the surface forms appearing in the text. For example, kitten in the text would not be linked to the concept cat in the graph. Then, to find connections between these concepts, you need to link them in the graphs, for example with shortest paths. This is noisy because you're selecting the paths purely based on the graph structure, independent of any semantic information. Therefore, if you're unlucky, your intermediate concepts will be completely irrelevant for the argument. Thus, in our work, we go beyond these shallow heuristics. The first step is that we embed every verbalized triplet with sentence bird to obtain a semantic embedding of every triplet. We do the same for the argument, where we embed the premise, the conclusion, and the argument as a whole. So we have 3 embeddings for the argument. Then, between these embeddings, we compute a cosine similarity to obtain a similarity score. This gives us 3 semantic similarities for every triplet, one with respect to the premise, one to the conclusion, and one to the argument. From the similarity scores to the premise and the conclusion, we compute our initial set of concepts. Because we are doing that based on the semantic embeddings rather than the string overlap, we are not limited by the surface forms and therefore obtain a more complete coverage of the argument. From the semantic similarity to the argument as a whole, we compute edge weights, which represent the semantic dissimilarity between the triplet and the argument. Then we compute the weighted shortest paths. By computing the weighted shortest paths, we maximize the semantic similarity between the path and the argument. This means that even intermediate concepts are still semantically similar to the argument and therefore relevant for the argument. And then finally we combine all these weighted shorted paths to obtain our graphs, the CCKGs, from this. How do we evaluate these graphs? We do this on the one hand intrinsically, where we check the graphs directly, independent of any downstream task. So this evaluation is task agnostic. We do this automatically on the dataset provided by Saha et al., where the task is given an argument to generate a graph which makes the implicit common sense knowledge explicit. And we find that our graphs outperform the supervised state of the art on this dataset. Furthermore, we also have a human evaluation where our annotators confirm the high precision and high recall of the implicit common sense knowledge in our graphs. To verify that our graphs are indeed beneficial in downstream tasks, we also have an extrinsic evaluation where we incorporate our graphs in the pipeline on a task. We find that on the task of predicting the novelty and the validity of conclusions, our graphs are comparable to a GPT-3 based systems. Heinrich et al. Also present a work this year at Semival, where they find that the CCKGs combined with the GNNs outperform large language models. This was it for this presentation. Our code and data is available on GitHub. Thank you very much for your attention, and please feel free to contact me with any questions.